Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah, we're back at it again. A little bit of a break. Fits and starts. It's a bunch of stuff. Happy holidays. I hope that your fall season, your harvest season has been gangster.
Yeah.
And we're now moving into dark time season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than Halloween, my favorite season.
The dark time because it's dark and cold.
Because it's dark and cold, yeah. And rainy. For us. So, yeah, I love all of that. That sounds fantastic. Yeah.
I don't know. I like all the seasons for what they are.
Ooh, I don't like the summer season. Not even a little bit. No. It's hot and bright, and those are two things that I don't want. Yeah. Not in the slightest. Nowhere near me. Yeah. Quit. Anywho, so, yeah, we're, this is like a new bit, like a new one that we're doing. We're not doing a 102 or anything.
Yeah. This is like, I was like, this is just a deep dive episode.
Well, yeah, it's like a new deep dive. I forgot the word deep dive.
Yeah, we're not doing a 102. This is, I mean, I guess you call it 101, but I don't know that we.
But it's not really a 101. It's just like a deep dive.
Yeah, this is like a beginner's guide to tea leaf reading or Tasseomancy.
Yeah. So, welcome to the beginner's guide to Tasseomancy. Oh, hey, you know what I forgot? I am Jonathan Norgrove. This is Julie Norgrove.
That's right.
Yep. And we're the podcasters.
We're the Horn and Cauldron podcast.
We're the people, and we're doing this thing. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe, ring the bell, do whatever that YouTube nonsense is they want us all to tell you to do. And if you're listening to this on your podcast network of choice, don't forget to leave us a review so we know what's going on or whatever. We're getting back into it. We're just coming out of a little bit of sick.
A little bit of
sickness.
A lot of busy. 2022.
Real busy.
It's been a hard year for us. Yeah. This has been a really difficult year.
It's been a bit of a thing. But so we got it. We're getting back into these. We expect more of these. We've got a plan.
Yeah, we got a plan.
The plans moving forward.
Yeah.
And the whatnots.
Which we will be talking about for our 2-year anniversary show.
Yeah, we'll be talking about all that stuff during the 2-year anniversary show.
Which is going to be a YouTube live stream.
Yep, we're going to go live for that, so you can join us over there and heckle us on the comments while I fuss with that.
Yeah, and that will be on December
11th at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m.
So Pacific Standard Time. Specifically that standard time.
Yes. Yeah. So check that out. We'll be talking about future plans, hanging out, doing all of that good stuff for our 2nd anniversary.
Yep.
And thanking in general all of our listeners.
Yeah, all of our fun
with
you
us.
Guys.
Yeah.
So stay awesome, guys.
All 8 of you.
Yeah. All 80.
Well, let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into this. Yeah. What is Tasseomancy?
So Tasseomancy just really means like divination using a cup. And tea
leaves.
And tea leaves. But you can also use coffee or other like infusions, tisanes for divination. It doesn't have to be quote unquote all caps tea leaves. Tasseomancy is kind of a catch-all term, although there are terms for using other things. It's not important. So that's what Tasseomancy is. So
getting divine prophecies from the tiny marshmallows in your hot chocolate whilst Christmas tree shopping.
Absolutely.
Not that tree at all. Yeah, like that
an
kind of thing.
Important thing.
An important thing.
Yes. Getting an answer for how your day is gonna be when you're like swirling around the grades in your golden milk tea and you don't want to drink them because they're sandy.
That's true.
Yeah. So Tasseomancy is interesting because its exact origins are unknown. But it's often considered a Romani tradition. But this is also, Tasseomancy is not a closed practice. And that's because this is not a tradition that is associated with one particular ethnicity or group of people. So we think that it may have originated from fortune tellers who used splatters of wax or other hot liquids to tell the future. I don't know. I mean, like I kind of don't know how that transitioned to tea, but also maybe let's not think about that too hard.
I get the feeling that this sort of came about in multiple locations at approximately the same time, kind of a situation. Yeah. Because I feel like Japan and China and that region, I feel like they have a long history
with tea. Yeah,
of
absolutely.
not just with tea, but not necessarily. I mean, either divination or some sort of fortune telling around tea leaves.
Oh,
that would date back to at least as far back as the Romani connection, or potentially even further back. But I feel like either way, I feel like the general idea of using some sort of substance in some sort of liquid inside of some sort of vessel to divine some sort of truth is sort of one of those things that if you get three divination people in a room, it's like an old joke. You get three diviners go into a bar, one of them's gonna look into a cup and see some shit. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's one of those things that kind of everybody came up with it sort of all at the same time. I think that's why we don't really have a hammered down. It's not the first guy ever was man, these leaves, I don't know about these leaves, and everybody was like, what? And then he was just I can see the future in it. I think it was just in general, everybody has a grandma going all the way back through the beginning of language in our culture who's looked at some tea leaves and then said some poignant ass shit to you.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just sort of culturally more infinite than just Gerald Gardner invented this holiday or whatever.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I think it's a little more non-specific.
Yeah. Well, tea leaf reading really kind of followed trade routes coming from Asia and became really popular in medieval Eastern Europe and Turkey. Although in Turkey, divination with coffee was far more popular.
Sure, yeah.
So we can definitely sort of see the history.
Tinier grains,
as it
more
moves.
Pixels, higher resolution hallucination.
Well, they also drink coffee in Turkey in a very specific manner, so that also lends to it. But I mean, there's really nothing to say that it
stop
didn't
the turkey
happen
from running away
then.
before you fill it with coffee. You say they drink the coffee in Turkey.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, it's good. It's
I'm not
good.
Gonna...
Solid joke. A+ to me. Give me a gold star, somebody.
I'm not going to do that. No. So that's where we see the Tasseomancy, but that doesn't mean that people weren't using, that sort of thing to tell futures before. We just sort of are focusing on that particular thing. And to top it all off, it makes it harder to trace because these practices and this sort of style of divination was often handed down orally. So there is very little written down about Tasseomancy. In fact, the oldest book about tea leaf reading was written in 1881 by someone using the pen name, quote unquote, a Highland seer.
Nice.
Yeah. You can actually read this book using the Gutenberg Project, and we will have links in the description and in the show notes. So if you're interested in checking it out, you might as well. It's pretty wild. It discusses the method that they learned, tips on how to read, lists of symbols, sample tea leaf readings, and omens that are completely unrelated to tea leaf reading. Also, asterisk, this book was written in 1881, so some of the terms in it aren't really PC to today's standards. So just keep that in mind when you're reading old things like that.
Sure, yeah.
But what we're going to go over in today's show is we are going to talk more about the methods and how you can do it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's super easy. I do tea leaf reading all the time. It's very fun. And it's something that you can really use to kind of help hone your intuition. And I think it's a great tool to do that. So if you're someone who has been struggling with what does this sign mean? Is this even a sign? Then this is a really great place to start to hone that intuition. So first off, we're going to talk about methods. So let's talk about vessels. So a teacup or a mug. Some people prefer an all-white interior. Helps you to see the bits easier. Or a cup that isn't fluted or have other raised patterns on the inside. Like those ones that have a cat on the inside. Maybe not the easiest to use.
Yeah. I used to have a coffee cup with a giraffe on the inside.
Of course you did.
Yeah, the giraffe broke off. Yeah, like literally, like not because it was bumped when I was cleaning it. Reasonable way to float off. Like I just poured some hot coffee in it, and it just went like pink, and then just like floated up dead. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm pouring this coffee out and throwing this away and not having any coffee today. I was sad, but I didn't drink any coffee that day, so I guess it won.
You definitely poured one out for that, homie.
Yeah.
Some people also prefer not to use ones that have like patterns and stuff on the inside. It is really ideal to use a wide cup, but any cup really can be used. You don't have to be picky. Bowl. A paper cup,
yeah.
Like
one of those like triangle water cups where you have 5 seconds to drink this water before it self-destructs.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know those?
Yeah. You can use that. You could also use, if you are so interested, a fortune-telling cup. So in the early 1900s, ceramic teacups printed with various symbols to help with tea leaf reading became really popular. And both the saucer and usually the cup interior and the saucer are printed. And they usually come with instructions from the manufacturer. There is no particular fancy way to do it. They just became a really fun parlor trick, and capitalism happened. So that's really what that is. You really won't find ones that are much earlier than that. In fact, some of the more popular and like easy to find, less expensive ones date from like the 1970s. So you can pretty much use whatever vessel you want. I have done tea leaf reading in everything from a like paper cup at my desk at the office all the way to like a very nice fancy porcelain cup that my bestie gave me that has like all kinds of like printing and gilded edges and stuff. Love it. I've also done it at like low key not done it for other people at like high tea shops, because oftentimes you have loose leaf tea there and you get a couple of little straggler leaves. Yeah. So next is brews. So you can use any tea, coffee, or other plant matter. Whatever it is that you're drinking, go for it. It is better to use something with smaller pieces because you can have it's easier to tell what signs and symbols there are. Like gunpowder green tea, for instance, is made with big leaves, so it's harder to see patterns in those because the leaves are so big.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to have it, I mean, you also don't want it to be so small that it's problematic. Like rooibos can be a little troublesome, but also really the main factor there that you want to think of is, are you the kind of person that doesn't want debris in your mouth when you're drinking your tea? If so, maybe consider doing tea leaf reading with your teapot instead of your cup. Yeah. Or don't drink the whole thing. There's a lot of ways that you can handle that. I don't really mind the debris. Give me all the boba. Yeah.
No. I don't want no debris in my drink. I'm not looking for beverage and a show.
I'm an orange juice with pulp, yes to boba person.
No. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. No.
So for the process, there's a ton of ways that you can do this. So I'm going to give you a couple of basics that you can choose from, which are kind of like the most popular ones. So some people prefer to pour the tea directly into the cup, pour hot water over it, and then read it that way, where you're putting all your debris in the cup. Some people prefer to use a teapot and read only the leaves that have made their way into the cup.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, if you are using tea bags, you will have to open up said tea bag to get the debris from inside of the tea bag. So be warned. It's honestly best to start with a loose leaf tea for this rather than opening up a tea bag, because those are generally sawdust.
Yeah, those are like smaller shreds because the bag is going to filter it out. So you're going to get less like, it's going to want to like float and stuff.
Yeah.
I've definitely had mini tea bags tear open in my tea over the years, or like leak or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
where
a
you're
staple.
Just like...
I had a tea bag like dip, and like the third come up, like the staple just like pulled out of the paper, and the paper was just like, I'm gonna go with the string. Tea, stay behind. And I'm just
I've definitely had that happen before.
Like, oh, it's the worst experience.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not wanting it, that's not a fun experience.
No, you're just like, sure. I legit just, I poured it over a coffee filter into a different cup.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And then just like squeezed it out and was just like, tea, I guess.
You're just like, I guess this is what I'm doing with my life now.
Like a nightmare person. Yeah. Whatever.
So in general, brew, pour, and drink your tea as you normally would, and leave a teaspoon or two in the bottom of the cup of the liquid plus the debris. Many tea leaf books warn against using milk, sugar, honey, or other additives in the tea. This reason is to keep the tea pure. And that's kind of a weird term to use because I think they're meaning like that might make it different to
it's not like
might
all
make it
tea.
harder. It's not
like
all tea.
it's got like extra stuff in it.
It's got extra
milk
stuff.
milk would reasonably cloud the process.
I drink tea with milk and I've never had a problem. I think that I
mean like you can't see all the way to the bottom.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that that's part of it, but also I think that part of it is to make this more of a special ritual rather than an everyday thing for those kind of books. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. But I think that the enjoyment of the tea is far more important because if you're drinking a tea that you think is gross, you're not going to enjoy this process. So whatever you're drinking, make it enjoyable for you. And drink as many cups of tea as you wish before reading these leaves. So maybe that's 1 cup, one and done. But also maybe that's like a whole pot of tea. It's whatever you want to do. And you can also choose to meditate during drinking the tea, but that's not necessary. Once you're done with the tea, you can use any of these methods to read the leaves. So there is the Highland Seer method, which is the oldest method that we have on paper. So in your left hand, you hold the handle of the cup while the teacup is on the saucer, and then you quickly turn it 3 times. Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Turn
like a pendulum.
Reep, reep.
Yeah, kind of like you would a pendulum, where you're like turning a knob of a door.
Yes.
A handle of a doorknob. Yeah, no, a doorknob.
Yeah.
And then you turn the cup upside down on the saucer and leave it for a minute. The handle represents you as the querent, and the symbols that are further away, once you like turn it back right side up, have less of a direct effect or indicate something happening on a journey or messages from visitors.
Okay.
And symbols near the rim will happen sooner, and those near the bottom are farther in the future. And they disregard any tea leaves that are on the saucer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's the Highland Seer method.
All right. Yeah, I dig that. That's cool. It's different. A little messy because your saucer's getting messy, but okay.
Yeah. So then there's the Raymond Buckland method. This is the method that I originally learned from the book called Secrets of Gypsy Fortune Telling. Hey, that's the title of the book. Don't cancel me. I love that book very much, though. As someone whose family is from those parts of the world, I think it's pretty great. So use your left hand to rotate the cup 3 times. Swirling the liquid as you go. Turn counterclockwise if you're a girl and clockwise if you're a male identifying person. And then place a napkin on the saucer and turn the cup upside down on top of the napkin. And then rotate the upside down cup on a saucer and make a wish. Now, let your cup drain for a minute, then turn right side up to read the leaves. Symbols closer to the handle have a greater influence on you than those on the far side of the cup. Those on the left are bad, and those on the right are good. The rim of the cup is the present, and closer to the bottom is the future. And if a symbol faces the handle, there's a direct effect to you as the querent. And if it faces away, then the effect is indirect.
Okay.
And then there's my method, which is way faster than literally any of these. So take a deep breath, and as you exhale, think about the question you want answered. I usually ask like, what does the future hold, or tell me what I need to know. I'm not generally asking a very pointed and specific question. I usually just want to know like what the universe wants me to know. And then turn the cup upside down on the saucer and wait a minute. Now, if you're not using a saucer and you're using like a mug, there's really no need to dirty another dish. You can just turn that upside down over the sink. And just let it go. So you don't necessarily have to use a saucer because I've definitely done it upside down with the sink plenty of times. And then now turn the cup right side up and look for symbols. I also, if I am using a saucer, read any symbols that I find on the saucer. And those are either clarifications for whatever symbols are in the cup or additional effects of the cup symbol or something extra in addition to that. So I'm not looking at a symbolism that is on left or right side or to the rim or to the bottom. I'm looking for a sign, basically. I'm looking for a symbol. I'm looking for a thing to tell me what to expect. Oftentimes, these symbols can be sort of like veiled in meaning. And this is another one of those tricky ones about like really like getting your intuition going. And that's really kind of the way that you can like work on your intuition. But reading the symbols, there's two ways that you can do this. You can use a symbol dictionary. This is by far the most popular method for those that are just starting out or people who are using a book like as a guide. There's not a bad thing at all. If it works for you, then it works for you. Choose a resource, though, and stick with it. Don't go to different ones trying to get a different answer. That's not how you should be doing this. But it is perfectly okay to look at a couple of them and go, oh, hey, I like this one better than that other one I was using. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, you can always upgrade your book or whatever.
Yeah, don't choose the meaning you like most out of like 3 or 4 different sources, though. Yeah. That kind of defeats the purpose. I've also found that dream dictionaries work for this, and these types of readings are more similar from person to person, and they're a little bit less personal also. So if you're trying to like do a reading for someone else, you might want to look at like symbols of that nature to kind of do that if you're looking for like kind of a party trick. And instead of using a dictionary, you can also use your intuition. This requires a bit more finesse. It requires a bit more of trusting yourself. And you're not only going to be using your imagination, but your intuition to understand what the symbols that you see mean. And these types of readings vary wildly from person to person due to personal experiences, as well as your own personal correspondences. Which is funny because I was just talking to one of my friends about this today. Like, different cultures throughout the world have different meanings for different things. So like in some cultures, a raven is a bad sign. And in some cultures, a raven is not a bad sign.
Yeah.
And for some certain people within a culture that thinks that a raven is a bad sign, some people might be like, no, I don't agree with that. So, also like imagination. So like I see a dragon in a cloud and you see a cute fluffy bunny. Like there's also that kind of thing. So that is reading the symbols. And if you're not really sure, you're not necessarily going to look at it and something's going to jump out at you.
Yeah.
The best way to
it's not like alphabet soup in a kid's horror movie where it spells a word out as it drifts into place, right? That would be too easy.
Yeah, absolutely. No. So I find that it is best to hold the cup in your hands and slowly rotate it, looking for symbols or pictures. And I also find that it's helpful to unfocus your eyes a little bit to do this. It helps you be a little bit less particular about what things look like. And most of the time, the leaves won't actually look like something. Like they're not going to look like a pickup truck carrying a load of pumpkins, but will remind you of something. Didn't know where we
were going with that one.
I didn't either. That was a thing that just came out. But so they may not actually look like the thing, but they will remind you of something. Like if you see you might not actually, this is what I wrote down. You may not actually see the actual outline of a Mustang convertible with a driver whose hair is waving in the wind, but you may see something that vaguely reminds you of it. And then you have to imagine, what does that mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean freedom? Does that mean, hey, I have a convertible? Does that mean like, hey, I'm looking for a new car? Maybe a convertible is where it's at. There's a lot of places that can go. And really, you have to remember that tea leaf reading, like any divination skill, and really like any magical skill, gets easier with time. So don't be too hard on yourself if you have a hard time figuring it out or finding a symbol. And also, sometimes you just won't see a symbol. Sometimes the universe has nothing to tell you.
Yeah.
And that is okay.
Yeah.
That is not a bad thing.
Yeah, we're on the other line. We can't pick up. So,
but also your first gut feeling about what you see is usually the right one. So don't overthink that either. And by going like, oh, I don't see a heart. It looks more like a seagull. Like a seagull. That's your answer.
No love for me. Only birds.
Only birds.
Yeah.
Birds can be love.
Yeah.
Our birds love us.
That's fair. I mean, as much
they'd
as a
probably
bird
still
is.
eat us if we died and we were, we were like,
Sure,
there.
yeah. I mean, they'd
Like
eat us if we weren't dead. We were just not moving around very much.
That's true,
Yeah.
especially the chickens.
Yeah, chickens are dinosaurs. So
Maybe not. Maybe the pigeons not right away.
no, the pigeons are cool.
Yeah, the pigeons are pretty good.
Yeah.
And also sometimes you might not understand what a symbol means right away. This is true, especially if you're not using a symbol dictionary or if you're kind of new to this. So it's always a good idea to write down what you see so you can reference it later. Like we're always talking about. I think that's a drinking game item. Write it down.
Probably, yeah. Write it down. Keep it in a journal or something.
Yeah, and
When we say that, I never write anything down. Like I'm so incapable of journaling. I try. I did it for a while.
Oof.
I had that captain's log book that I've now entirely misplaced.
I tried really hard. I had like
I tried so hard and I wrote it down and I had an app for a while that I was doing, but I cannot. I did it for like 6 months and it was just like, I'm fucking done with this.
Me, and I was doing good until I hit like a depression spiral in like March.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't get back into writing all that stuff down. I still did it. I just didn't write it down because it just felt like too much work. So, I mean, that's the struggle. Yeah. And definitely keep in mind that if you're using a teacup made for tea leaf reading, that you should probably use those instructions or develop your own system entirely, and that each book author has slightly different ways of reading the symbols and doing the whole process.
That's
yeah.
I did not know that they had pre-made cups for leaf reading. I imagine it's like those phrenology skulls.
It is
just like a bunch of like circles with words in it.
It's more like symbols.
And if there's like a bunch of leaves near the symbol.
Yeah, and sometimes they're like a deck of playing cards because you can use playing cards for divination. That's really popular too.
Sure, yeah. Dip a deck of playing cards in a big old cup.
Oh my god, no. Do not do that. Ooh, no, that's gross. And you're gonna ruin the cards. Yeah. And you know what? That's gross. That's how you get sick.
It's gross, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there could be new playing cards. You could have just washed those playing cards.
Oh my god, why would you wash playing cards?
To clean them enough to dip them in your tea.
What?
Yeah, man. What are you talking about? Makes perfect sense.
No!
I mean,
no, it does not.
I mean, it kind of does. It kind of does.
No, not in the least.
Yeah.
Not in the least.
Yeah. Or just because they're gross and dirty, and who wants to use gross, dirty cards? I literally bought a plastic set, like, deck of cards specifically to be cleanable. It's that black deck of cards that I have.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't want gross, dirty cards. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. When I played Magic, I generally kept my cards in those plastic sleeves.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do have those, like, tea leaf cups. They're pretty cool, but, like, they can be pretty expensive. There's a...
Is it just because you're buying, like an old used cup?
Sometimes.
Like, is there not like a company making freshies?
I don't. If there is, they're still really expensive. I think they're like mostly all antiques.
That makes sense.
There's a metaphysical shop in a town near us that I've been to that I saw one that was like $150, and I was like, dang, this place is overpriced, but that is. Whew, it's a nice cup, but it's
an expensive cup, $150 cup.
I'm not buying a $150 cup.
Yeah, no.
Like I would like to have one of those someday, but I mean, not for the prices that they mostly go for.
Yeah.
Just because they're kind of like cool curiosities. It's like a fun thing to have on a shelf.
You just get a cheap punch bowl and a Sharpie. Do it yourself. Shake it around, flip it upside down on a coffee table. Bam.
I mean, I guess you could do that with a punch.
Big ass tea leaf reading. Big old Tasseomancy. What that is there.
That's like the Duplos of Tasseomancy.
Yeah, is a punch bowl and a Sharpie? No, I think that's worse. I think it's worse than Duplos. Yeah.
So have you... I know that I do tea leaf reading pretty often, but do you do tea leaf reading? Or like...
Not really.
Anything like that?
Kind of not really. I mean, insofar as like I do that thing that like I'm like always looking for runes. That's no, that sounds like I'm doing a thing. But like if some leaves are floating in a shape or against the wall in a shape that was like It's urus or ansas or whatever manas or tewa or something like that. Then I'll be like, like there's a rune right there, and then look that up. But I don't generally do any form of Tasseomancy, right? More than like just like looking at my beverage to make sure there's not like a ceiling spider in it or something to that extent. So not really, not really.
I do it all the time. Like I can't say every day.
I mean, like sometimes I do, right? Like I have, but
yeah,
like,
I don't do it every day. But
it's not really my Jazzy Jeff.
It's a really close to everyday thing for me. Like if I'm drinking the tea and there is like debris in it, I'm gonna swirl it and see if I see anything that looks interesting.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a couple of Tasseomancy methods for you also that you can use, kind of like spells. So first we have a fancy one. And this one's a bit more of like making it into a ritual as opposed to like an everyday kind of thing. Although if you want to do this ritual every day, more power to you, get it. So in addition to any other magical items that you will need, tea, coffee grounds, or something else that you're going to brew, a small snack, a napkin, a candle, and optional whatever it is that you like to put in your tea, milk, sugar, honey, whatever. Marshmallows, I guess. No. That's for hot cocoa. You can do this with hot cocoa too. I don't care.
No, don't put marshmallows in your tea. Honestly, don't put anything in your tea. I just want straight leaf water. Just like how I prefer my bean water, straight bean. Yeah. Bean water, straight bean. Leaf water, straight leaf.
No, I want milk or cream.
Yeah. Honestly, fruit water, straight fruit. I would prefer less sugar in lemonade. It should be tartar. I would prefer less sugar in most juices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fruit are sweet enough, guys. Let's calm way down with this sugar thing. As a person who's not super into like sweet stuff, it's getting excessive.
Yeah, Mister, you said you were going to eat 2 pies and had 1 slice total from each.
I had more than 1 slice total from each.
No, you did not.
I did. I definitely did.
A tiny 1/12 slice does not count from the size of those pies.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
my soul has a bigger stomach than I do, because
I know. Yeah, I'm aware.
It happens.
Anyways, so brew your drink as you normally would and set the mood by turning off the lights and lighting your candle. Pour yourself a cup and fix it however you like. Drink your tea while gazing at the candle flame. Let your mind wander and let go of any thoughts that come up. When you're done with your tea, swirl the cup around, focusing on the question you want answered. And when you are ready, place the napkin on the saucer and turn the cup over. Next, eat your snack while you wait for the cup to drain. And now turn your cup over and look for symbols in your cup and saucer, using your intuition or a dictionary to help you discern their meaning. Just a nice little ritual there.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know there was a symbol dictionary.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Is it alphabetical? Or
Usually.
Is it like...
No, it's alphabetical.
Is it like structural?
No, it's
all the square symbols, all the round symbols.
Oh my
symbols
gosh,
heavy in the upper left-hand quadrant versus symbols heavy in the upper right-hand quadrant.
No. What kind of monster are you? How would you even put that together?
A robot kind?
It's alphabetical, you monster! How are you going to put an alligator into a structural thing like that?
I don't know. It depends. How real is this alligator got to look?
It's made of tea leaves.
So, I mean, I feel like it could go in any number of potential subcategories.
Yeah, that's why you do it alphabetically.
Sure, yeah, sure.
I feel like you don't believe me.
No, I mean, it makes sense. A for alligator. Yeah, works. But at that point in time, I mean, I feel like if you're looking at it, you're like, that's an alligator. I know what an alligator is. You know? I guess, in my mind, you're just flipping through a book, being like, does that pile look like this? No. Does that pile look like this?
No, they don't. They don't usually have pictures. I mean, some books will have pictures to show you like a sample reading, but not like a picture for like, this is what an alligator looks like in tea leaves.
See, I'm thinking of something like almost... like entirely based on pictures. Yeah. I didn't even think about it just being words. That's just called a regular dictionary. It's like alligator. This is It's like a nightmare teeth shit in the water. Don't touch that. Don't golf near it. Don't retire near it. Don't let your kids or dogs near it. It's not... You build a fucking fence. Right?
Don't fight it.
Yeah. If it's chasing you, zigzag. They say that's going to help. I'm pretty certain it's just so the people who know that that's a lie can run in a straight line and you get ate first. But whatever.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I feel like there's a conspiracy there.
I'm not up to code with my alligator.
Yeah, I'm not all prepared for alligators. But yeah, I don't know. I just assumed there was pictures.
No. Generally not at all.
I didn't know these dictionaries existed 5 seconds ago, so yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a picture of an alligator and then an equal sign, and then it's like a picture of a moon and then like a downward arrow and like a picture of like teeth and like a sad face.
No. Now you're making a Resident Evil puzzle.
Nah, I mean it's like this is the picture and these are the other pictures that it also represents. So you don't have to read no words.
Oh my gosh, no.
Symbol dictionary. It's real hard to read, but like you kind of get it, right?
No. Okay, so we also have like an everyday kind of like quick and dirty Tasseomancy method. So you're gonna need tea, coffee, whatever it is that you're gonna brew, and then whatever it is that you like to have in your drink. So brew your drink as you normally would and fix it however you like, and drink your tea, however long that takes, without even necessarily setting intention. Yeah. And when you are done, swirl the remaining liquid around 3 times. Go to your sink and turn the cup upside down, letting it drip into the sink. Yeah.
You got like a tea in a cup in the office, or or whatever. You can just do the same thing. Boom. Give it a look-see.
And then focus on the question you want answered. And when you are ready, turn the cup right side up and look for your symbols.
Yeah.
So nice, quick, and dirty. I do that all the time. It is only when I'm getting fancy that I'm like, oh, I'll wash another dish. I'll do this with a saucer. Yeah, because since we don't have a dishwasher, I'm just like, ew, no, I'm not dirtying another saucer. What are you kidding me? That saucer's perfectly clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If I am even using a saucer, we have regular mugs, and I don't.
If I'm using a regular mug, no saucer. But if I'm using like a teacup, like the nice china cup, I'm always getting a saucer. I'm never gonna drink out of that without a saucer. No.
We have ones with our china that I use without a saucer because they're just like tiny mugs.
No, you gotta. We have a saucer that it like clicks right into.
Yeah, I know.
It's perfect for a tiny cookie.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, maybe I need to eat more tiny cookies. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe.
We also have some correspondences for tea leaf reading, particularly some things that may help you to sort of set the mood.
Yeah.
Or
animals starts with T's. Colors that start with T. Plants, T's. Deities, I don't know. Mr. T.
Yeah.
Done. Out. Next. Corresponded. Boom.
Oh man. So animals associated with divination in general is what we're going with, not really tea leaf reading. So animals associated with wisdom and divination would be owls, spiders, and squids. Yeah. Colors blue, purple, and white. And stones would be emerald, jet, labradorite, obsidian, silver, and turquoise. For plants, aside from what it is that you're drinking, keep in mind not all of these you want to be drinking. These are
technically the plants are plants, and the thing that you're drinking is just also a plant.
That is correct. Yes,
yeah, that's all we're saying.
So you don't want to necessarily ingest all of these.
Just don't drink these. Don't drink these.
Unless it's safe.
Consult an adult.
Yeah, consult an adult. Yeah. Damiana, hibiscus, jasmine, yarrow, and willow. And deities associated with would be Brigid, Circe, the Dagda, Hecate, Isis, and Odin. Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, and like again, like the whatever tea you're brewing, you can also like kind of reverse engineer stuff based on like if you're doing your own blend, like your own tea blend, you can sort of like use correspondent, like food safe, like tea additives or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How like we make our own like tea blends and stuff. So like you can totally do that for like as part of your Tasseomancy. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're getting like if you're gonna make a blend, like maybe grind it up or like get it into like a fairly uniform size. I know that sometimes I'll make tea and I'll put like some Blue Lotus in there, and those are just like this big.
Oh yeah, they're huge.
They're fucking huge.
But if you like rip them up, then it's not.
But like
so bad.
if you just like break it into some little bits, then it's not like a whole dramatic thing. Although if you are using flowers, food safe flowers, still again, if you're not certain whether or not you should be eating it, go to a bigger adult than you.
Yeah,
that's how adults work. Just keep going up in adult bigness. Inevitably, you will get to the prime adult. That adult knows all things. Don't just trust the internet. It's the fucking internet. That's obvious not to trust it.
That's
Jesus. Right. So just don't do that. If you are using a flower, like an edible flower, like some of the ones that we use, sometimes those stamens are a bit of a nuisance. So
calendula is really
calendula,
bad with that.
Or like what's the there's another one where it's like it's got like a little bit of a fuzziness to it.
Oh, mullein.
Yeah, mullein.
Yeah, that one is,
which isn't great in like a tea necessarily, although like I've had it a bajillion times.
You can do it as a tea. It's one of those your mileage may vary ones. Mullein petals are like very fuzzy, and when they dry, the fuzziness turns into just like tiny little fiberglass shards. Yeah. And I'm not a fan. It
just gets everywhere. I'm not it's not great, but so just keep think about that, before you dive headlong into just totally. Mixing your own teas. But also if you don't, highly recommend putting together a little collection of teas and stuff. Drinking tea is not as expensive as you think, so long as especially you're willing to brew whole leaf tea.
Yeah.
I've been buying gunpowder green tea my entire life. It is my favorite tea by a huge margin. And it's because gunpowder green tea is cheap as dirt when you buy it in 1 and 5 pound units.
Yeah.
When you're buying a buttload of tea, it's mad cheap. It keeps super good. I used to I would buy it and it just came in a metal tin, right? Just wrapped in some paper. And I would just throw some in a Ziploc bag and take it with me to class or whatever when I was going to the JC or whatever. So I could just get hot water and make my own tea and then just drink loose leaf green tea out of my stupid Starbucks cup or whatever. Yeah. This was such a cheaper way to drink tea all day.
Yeah. Well, and you can also it doesn't have to be really expensive to mix your own teas. Mm. If you have a particular type of tea that you really love, you're really into black tea or you're really into a particular green tea, or rooibos, you can get that in bulk. A 1 pound bag of that is actually not as expensive as you would think, asterisk, because of inflation.
Yeah. And sorts. If you're going to like a tea place in a mall or something, it might be more expensive because of storefronting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, tea is
yeah, but you can get you can get a basic thing that you really like, and then you can add just sort of household things to the tea. If you've got chocolate around,
ketchup.
Put some God, no.
I thought chocolate was pretty weird, so I threw out a weird one also.
What? No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me. Chocolate and tea?
Yeah. Ugh. Black tea, chocolate. It's fantastic.
That sounds crazy.
I've got a really nice tea blend with chocolate. But also any spices that you have. So ginger and cinnamon, nutmeg, all of those are fantastic in tea. Yeah. And if you have any sort of fruits around, slicing up those to steep in the tea are great. If you have frozen fruits, that works too.
Yep.
Some fruits work better with certain types of teas. If you've got a cantaloupe on your shelf, if you have a cantaloupe just laying around your house.
From the makers of Elf on a Shelf, they now bring you cantaloupe on a shelf. It's 5 times as expensive and 20 times as gross. Move the cantaloupe. We dare you.
Its flavor profiles are going to go better with a green tea than a black tea, just because of the nature of it, But like if you've got like a lemon or like oranges, like that's easy stuff that you can put into your teas to kind of go from there. And then you can start looking at getting other things that are maybe a little bit just like left of center. So like dried rose petals, for instance, or dried lavender are really nice things that you can get. If you have any like ethnic markets near you, you can usually find loose leaf teas in there too. You can find hibiscus usually pretty easily, and chamomile at ethnic markets, in addition to a whole bunch of other things. So that's a really great one. In fact, maybe we'll do a kitchen witchery episode on just like teas.
Yeah, and like blending teas and like that sort of like herbalism stuff. Yeah, we have like a huge like sort of like inventory of that stuff, but it's also because we just kind of found that it's so much cheaper to like get this stuff in bulk and like store it in like a food safe manner, and like just like make our own tea blends. Because often, if there's a particular like bag of tea that you like, you can just like flip that bag over, and generally it's just going to be like black tea and bergamot. All right, well then you know what you need to do to make this tea. Right, ratios are up to you at that point in time and things like that. But still, a lot of that, like those like tea blends that we already like, are pretty much out there as like we know what's in them and whatnot. So
yeah, like golden milk tea. That's one that I just have the ingredients on hand for, and I just make in bulk because I drink a ton of it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, and of course we probably should have said this at the beginning, but of course not all of these things necessarily need to have tea leaves in them. So like tea is just sort of an overarching term that we're using for this.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to get into the nitty gritty of what's a tea and what's a tisane and what's an infusion. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just whatever you want to use. Yeah. Whatever you want to use. But yeah, so those were the correspondences and like a little convo about making your own tea, like blending your own teas. And this has been Tasseomancy.
Yeah.
Like a kind of brief sort of intro into like Tasseomancy and like a little bit about its history and its practices and like kind of how to get your way through it, and sort of like what we do with regard to Tasseomancy. Just like I've never done this like flipping the cup upside down thing. I'm not gonna make a mess on a saucer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't like it. Honestly, if you're picking your cookie up and there's crumbs, get that shit up, man. I don't like, saucer should be nice and pristine. Yeah.
Well, then use the sink method.
Yeah. That's all the way over there. I can't. It's too far. I tried. Can't go over there. So yeah. Anywho, that's Tasseomancy. I don't know.
That's
I don't know what's next. What's next up.
It's literally on the page.
I know. I see it. So we would like to thank our patrons real quick before we move on to what's going on next. Alan, Miranda, Helena, and Alexa, you guys are awesome. Keep it up. We're getting mad caught up on those Book of Shadows pages.
That's right.
And stay tuned for more stuff about like kind of what's coming up for
2023.
For 2023,
yeah. I forgot. Season 3.
For season 3 of this. Yeah, I kind of forgot what year was coming into.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Which we're going to be talking about that during our 2nd anniversary show, which is going to be on YouTube. We're going to be live on Sunday, 12/11 at 5 p.m. Pacific. So we're going to be streaming for probably about an hour, and we're just going to hang out. We're going to chit chat about like what our future plans are, answer any questions you may have, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And if you are listening to this not when it first comes out and you miss it, we will try to put up a recording of it so that you've at least got that.
Yeah. I'll be able to extract the audio.
So then there will be a live, so that you can play along at home just like you were there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we also have a few other shows coming up. We have a pub chat coming up. So if you need questions about pub chat, hit us up on our socials, or email us at nerdjive on the website at nerdjive.com. And we also have a full-length episode coming up too.
Yep, episode number 45, Yule 103.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. Getting into the Yule season, listen to that sweet Yule music, drinking that Yule nog, doing Yule trees.
Yeah. And we may be dressed up for Yule when we record that, but maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe. Maybe we'll
for
have
those
Pierre
of you
dress.
that are watching, we'll probably have Pierre, our skeleton, on the couch.
Yeah.
Well, he's not
Producer
really on the
skeleton.
couch. He's our elf in a shelf, but
Yeah,
larger.
he's just a skeleton everywhere in the house that he fits. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've put him on top of the freezer.
like that's just around the corner.
Sometimes
inside
he
of
goes on the
kitchen.
bed.
Yeah, most of the time he just sits on the bed during the day.
Every once in a while, I've tried to put him onto the fireplace when it's cold, but
Yeah.
this is not that season.
Yeah, no. Right now the fireplace is too hot. Yeah.
That's melting. He's not a real skeleton.
No.
Pierre, you are a real boy.
Yeah.
But you are made of plastic, so we don't want that.
I'm not trying to get that melt on.
Yeah, I've definitely put him on the hamper before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just put him anywhere you can put him. Dress him up, decorate him.
Yeah.
It's like having a skeleton.
He's
but
our
it's in
skelly
your
boy.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's coming up next. So if you have like questions for Pub Chat, hit us up. Any of that kind of stuff. Thank you for listening to this. If you are listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share this video, subscribe to the channel, do all of the things that everybody else tells you to do, ring a bell of some sort. I think that's how angels get their wings. So
I think you are correct.
yeah,
Yes.
I believe that's how that works.
According
So
to movie lore, that is correct.
maybe YouTube put a bell on there just for that. There you go.
Oh, maybe. I doubt.
Great YouTube Miracle
I
on
doubt it.
34th Street conspiracy.
I doubt it. No, that's
Yeah.
not.
That's what it is.
That's not what that means.
That's what it is.
That's not what that means at all.
Uh,
Or maybe it is, and somebody's really getting all chaos magic, like
I know, right?
advanced on us.
But and if you're listening to this on your podcast network, leave us a review. Listen to some other episodes. Tell us what's going on. You can always hit us up on our social medias. I'm at Jive everywhere, and you're at Goddess Jules everywhere.
That's right.
So you can hit us up pretty much anywhere and see what we're doing and all that kind of stuff. Either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Julie Norgrove. This has been the Horn
And Cauldron
Podcast. Yeah, and we will catch you guys next time. Stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.